Welcome back, guys. We're going to be working on the 370Z once again today. As I said in the last video, if you haven't already caught it, the under tray, the end splash guard, the bash plate, whatever you want to call it, on this car, we're going to be swapping out for a metal one this time around. So a little bit of a story time. I was on a road trip back, and the whole thing just came off. Well, kind of. It started dragging along. I think I still have it around, so I'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you the metal one we got. It's come from GK Tech, the same people we got the bleeder port from. If you haven't seen us install that, click the little car that's appearing now. You can see how we installed that one. But let's get ready to set this all up. So this is what the stock one looks like now after it kind of fell off and started dragging across. I'll put a photo up of what they normally look like, but you can kind of see this whole top part here is just completely ripped off. It was dragging along the ground, so a lot of it just got shaved off, and I'm guessing some of it also fell off along the way. So it's just not going to hold there. And it's a pretty common issue with the 370s. They do tend to scrape even at the stock ride height with the stock suspension. So hopefully the metal one does sit a bit higher. So when we install this, it should stop as much scraping, but in the long term, being metal, it will be able to withstand a bit more wear and tear as we use it, so it should be better in the long run. So we've got it here, it's still wrapped up, so let's get this opened up and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so this is the main part, as you can see. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, it does flex slightly in the middle. Well, it's kind of molded that way. This will sit at the back, and we'll show you where. When you go to purchase it, if you purchase it through the same guys we did, you have to pick a bumper retainer. So depending on the front bumper you have, whether it's the stock one that comes on the Touring, the Sport, or any of the base model ones, like mine, you pick this retainer, or if you have a Nismo, it's a slightly different one because the mounting holes are different. So if you go to pick it, just make sure you're picking the right one. Also handy, you'll just have to buy the other one if you've got the stock bumper like I have and you ever move on to installing a Nismo bumper later on, you are going to have to swap this. So that is about an extra 115 Australian dollars, and if you're buying anything else you might get free shipping. But yeah, just keep that in mind if you're ever buying it. Just make sure you pick the right one of these. Most of these won't fit with any aftermarket bumpers, so you might have to make your own one of these, or you'll just have to find another option to do this sort of modification. Also in the kit we got a series of bolts as well as some riv nuts and the tool for it. These were extra included. I think it was only about an extra $10-11 to get these. So I believe these are for if there's some holes that you won't be able to screw directly into. This just gives you that ability. So if you don't have it, would recommend picking it up. It's also the correct sizing for everything, so you don't have to really think about it, and it's not a whole lot extra. So let's start by putting on the bumper retainer, and we'll see how we go. Alright, so as you can see, we've done a bit of a test fit here just to see what it will look like. It's not fully done in, but as you can see, pretty well lines up with the holes that are with the existing bumper, and that's exactly why you need to pick the correct bumper retainer for it to fit. Then you've got bumper retainer and then your main bash plate here. They'll just slide on top of each other. As we've been doing this test fit, we're having a look. We can't actually see where the riv nuts are supposed to end up going. So when we go through and mount it all properly, we'll see what we can find. If there is anywhere we need to put them, we'll let you know to keep an eye out in case it's more just like, oh, in case you need to put something somewhere, this is what you do. But we'll find that out as we cross that bridge. But as you can see, it definitely looks a lot better, and being metal, it's going to hold up for a lot longer. So let's probably get this mounted and we'll catch up after. Alrighty, so we found what we need to use the riv nut tools, the riv nut and the riv nut tool for. Essentially along the frame here, the 3 holes, they don't actually fit the riv nuts perfectly, and there's no actual screw holes underneath for the screws to go through. So we used an 8mm drill bit, just made them a bit bigger for these to pass through.
Start at about a 7, even if a 7.5, just to see if you can get them to fit, and then just work your way up to 8 or whatever you need to get yours if you're not buying them through the group. But once they're in, just use the tool to tighten them in place. But now that's in place and all set up, we can go ahead and start properly screwing in the bumper retainer and the bash plate itself. For all the screws, we're going to be using Loctite just to make sure they stay in place and they don't rattle loose as I'm driving, because I don't want anything to fall off the car again. So let's get started and we'll get that all put in now. So that's all installed. We'll drop the car back down. I think this looks a lot better. It sits higher, so there's less chance of it actually ever scraping, which is going to be a whole lot easier. It's going to sound nicer. Being more flush, the stock one has a lot of bumps and all of that, so wind can get disturbed. This being flush, the air should move nicely underneath until it gets to the back. I know there's parts you can buy for the back to smooth it all out for the aerodynamics. We're not going to worry about that for now. This isn't currently planning on being a track car, but if it is, we can look into those parts later down the line. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you've got any other suggestions for parts or modifications we can do to the car, let us know. If you enjoyed, press like, hit subscribe, and that's about it. See ya.